Well, hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone who might be watching. I'm your host, the Report of the Week, and here I am. You can kind of see in a little bit of a void, right? Here I am. You can see the white shirt, and then the black background, and then you can see the line of lights there. That maybe those are all the those what I don't even know the name. Those satellites that or Elon Musk launched or whatever. I don't know what I'm. People were just saying they were seeing lines of lights in the sky, and they don't know what they are. So maybe it's just a string of lights in the background, who knows, but anyway, on a bit of a serious note, I hope you're doing okay. Hope you're doing alright, and I mean it. I really do. I hope you're hanging in there. Tonight, this is one of those videos that I wasn't really sure, should I make it, should I not? How should I go about it, when, etc. But I said, you know what, I just want to sit down and just talk about something that's really, I think, been on my mind and been on all of our minds for, well, for the last couple months, at least. And that's this virus, whatever you want to call it, just the virus, coronavirus, COVID-19, etc. And I know it's one of these subjects that we've heard so much about. Gosh, you can't get away from it. And I know that some of us are just so bombarded by it, maybe we don't want to hear about it anymore. But it's one of those things that, regardless of how much we hear about it, I think it continues to impact each and every one of us in one way or another. And I know that from all of you who are out there tuned in right now, this is something that's, of course, global. It's something that's impacting everyone, everywhere. And yes, it's to different levels. Yes, some people may sadly be dealing with this personally, or maybe some of their friends or family members may be dealing with an infection of this and may be going through this directly. Others may be living with that fear, that anxiety. Will I get it? Will someone who I know and care about and love get it? How cautious do I need to be? When is this going to end, right? Some of us may have frustrations. We just want this to end. We want things to get back to normal. We miss doing some of the activities that we used to enjoy doing, and now we can't anymore because of this virus. Some of us might have frustration. Some of us might have worry and anxiety, and others might have those direct impacts. And, while it's affecting everyone differently and in different ways, I think that one biggest commonality we can all draw is that this is something that, in one way or another, we're all going through. We're all connected, is what I'm trying to say. It's something we could all relate to. We're all going through this. And, for me, one thing that, I sometimes talk about it, but I don't really, I try not to, focus on it overly or anything, is that, I do the food videos, I do the reviews a lot of the time. Sometimes I'll make little videos joking around and, just having some, hopefully, good comedy. I say hopefully right there. But one thing that really does interest me greatly are current events, and it's something that I follow, quite a bit, all different ongoings in the world, and, I really started getting into that when I was started listening to Shortwave, and I would hear these international news stations, and from there it just got me really into just ongoing current events. And I remember back in January, first hearing about the virus, just when it was in China, when it just seemed like it was just another, just something that was really happening, and it just wasn't really going to be, too big of a deal, is the best way to put it, at least in my mind at the time. I thought, well, it's just going to be maybe a little news story over there, and that's it. And granted, as it started to, expand and become more widespread, you began having these little what-ifs. It was like, well, what if it really gets to this point where it becomes a pandemic? What if it really spreads more and more? What if? And at the time, even to me, it seemed like, no, that just can't happen. It hasn't so far, right? How can it get to that point? But it did, and it's been surreal. It's been surreal. Not in a good way, of course. Sometimes I think we can use the word surreal in certain contexts, but it's been surreal. Just not in a good way. Never did I think it would ever get to a point where just going outside, I would have to have a face mask and gloves on. You have to disinfect everything. And, of course, just all the worries, right, from family that I have up in, some of the worst affected areas, just concerns that you have about them. And, about, of course, your own health, your own safety, all of these things. Never did I think it was going to get to that point. And I think for a lot of us, whether it be those same types of worries, or maybe it could even be the financial impact of it, these frustrations, these worries, these anxieties, I think it could get the best of us sometimes. I think it could overwhelm us, really. I think a lot of the time it's like, maybe we're just up, we're thinking about this, we're thinking about all the what ifs, all the possibilities. Maybe the anxieties keep us up. Maybe we're obsessively checking the news and all the statistics and all the numbers and trying to see, what does this analyst say, what does this doctor say, what does this scientist say, etc. And I think a lot of us, we're just spending so much time thinking about this. And it really, it can get overwhelming. Sometimes I think it gets to this point where it's like, will it ever end, right? Will it ever go away? Will things ever get back to normal? And what I really wanted to say is, like, kind of, set up here in, like, an impromptu manner. But one thing that I really wanted to say, as cliched as it is, there's just so much truth to it. Things will get better. And trust me, they will. They most certainly will. I know that, look, this might be a duration event. And I know that, there's so many things that are variable, that are subject to change, that we just can't predict. Now, yes, you can look around and you can see various forecasts and various charts and models and predictions, some of which might come true, some of which might not be. Of course, there are so many twists and turns with this pandemic that I think a lot of us never saw coming. But if there's one thing that's a guarantee, one thing that is most certain, it's that this will end. This will end. This will eventually die down. Things will get better. And things will get back to normal. And they will. Now, when it comes down to timetables, and when it comes down to, well, how long is it going to take? How soon is it going to be? There's a lot of things that we don't know. There's a lot of things, right, that we all just have to shrug because we really don't know the answer to it. But there is that certainty that, while it may be a little while, it will get better, and it will get back to normal. One thing that I always tell myself, too, is that, of course, while things really do seem like maybe they are out of control, the resources right now that are being put into trying to develop a vaccine, a cure, a treatment, something that can work and really, of course, rapidly make things better, that amount of work being done right now, as we speak, as I'm doing this video, is unprecedented. And just know that there's people out there, number one, in the labs and research centers just working tirelessly to try to put all this to an end. And then, of course, we have all the first responders out there, all the nurses, all the doctors, all the first responders, people just keeping logistics going, right? That are there for us if in the unfortunate event, if, let's say, I get sick or we get sick or, there's people out there that are there to help us and that are also working tirelessly to ensure that, look, if something happens, we get that treatment that we need so we can get back to strength and get better. So one thing that I think we have to remember also is that through these crazy times, there's lots of people out there working right now, around the clock, even in the middle of the night, to help any way that they can. Things will get better. Things will improve. And one thing that I also tell myself, and I've even said on my radio show a couple times, every day that passes is one day closer to all of this finally coming to an end. And that sense of normalcy one day will return. And, there will be a time where we'll be able to look back at this, and we'll have a lot of stories to tell, but things will get back to normal, and things will get better. They most certainly will. Please hang in there, and just remember, you're not alone in this. Everyone else is going through this too, and we're all going to make it. We will. On one final note, just a little thing that I wanted to bring up. I know that we do have our frustrations, and yeah, there are a lot of problems going on right now, and a lot of things that, can make our blood boil. Maybe it's seeing just the situation. Maybe it's those frustrations about things getting back to normal. Maybe it's seeing the reactions of some or from others, people whose viewpoints that we may or may not agree with. And that might just make us very frustrated, might make us very angry, and, we might want to take it out on other people. Let's face it, a lot of us can be stressed, a lot of us can be anxious, we could be upset, we could be frustrated, and we just gotta blow off steam. But one thing that I just urge everyone who's watching, just remember, we still have to keep our civility. 3 things that I try to, I try to live by, and I know I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect. Yes, we do have our lapses. We do have those times where we try our best to do something and we mess up. And I know that happens to every one of us, myself included, of course. But one thing that I always try to live by is to treat others with kindness, respect, and dignity. And through these trying times, I think those 3 principles, we can still maintain those things. We could come together, even by social distancing, we could still come together online, through social media, right? Please, be kind to one another, treat others as you would like to be treated, and we could still have our disagreements, our frustrations, ways we can vent things out, but we can still be respectful to one another. With kindness, respect, and dignity, please remember those 3 things, and let's just retain our civility even through these trying times. But everyone out there watching, please stay strong. There's going to be a time when this will finally be over, but hang in there. Hang in there, stay strong, because we're going to get through this. We all will. I'm still going to be here. I'm still hanging in there. I've had some more dental issues that I got to get worked out, and I'm just, taking things day by day. But I know it could be hard to stay positive through this, but we will. We're going to get through it. Please be healthy, too. Take care of yourself. You could still get some fresh air, but do so responsibly, see if you could maintain the social distancing. Remember, be hygienic. Try to sanitize things, wash your hands, make sure you shower, wash regularly. If you go out, maybe just wear a mask or a face covering. That's what I do now. And I've gotten used to it. And I even kind of like the way some of the masks look, to tell you the truth. But we're going to make it through this, and there's many things that we could do that are very simple, but just make a world of difference. Hang in there, everyone. I'm still going to be here. I'm still going to be uploading these videos, and, well, I have more reviews that are going to be coming. I just wanted to take a little bit of a break from that and just make a little bit of a, hopefully down-to-earth, serious video. Hang in there, everyone. We're all going to get through this. Take care. I'm your host, The Report of the Week.